Guys, welcome to the process on this wonderful Wednesday. Thank you for joining. Today we have a interesting show for you guys. We're going to be talking about the year in review. We're going to talk about our favorite shows, a couple shows where we have a couple things going on. We wanted to remind you guys of how spectacular 2021 was, besides the COVID and all those issues we had. Alessandra, how are you doing tonight?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited to sit down and actually review 2021 as we get ready for everything that's planned for 2022.
Definitely. And I must say it was a good year. We had our marathon in 2021,
Oh, it was
which was
epic.
12 hours. Do you remember that? I mean, it was one day,
12
but
straight hours. We pretty much stayed up 24 hours.
pretty much. So, guys, a couple things I want to say, a couple things I want to reference, but there's one particular thing. So, guys, go to our YouTube channel, Sterile MD, on YouTube, and check out our content. And also like and subscribe the videos as you watch them. And also, one more thing, hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified every time we have a new show or new content coming out. So, here's the intro. We'll be right back. So, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Alessandra, how was your week? How are you doing?
Week was good. Week was good. I have definitely been doing a lot of just self care and just trying to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. So I've changed up my exercise routine a little bit this week and I'm doing dancing.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
whoa. Don't break a leg. Okay,
No.
don't break a leg. So, right, let's get into this interesting show. So, 2021 was a good year, I must say. We actually started the process in 2021, and unknowingly, we're still doing it in 2022. I didn't know. I didn't know. I thought, well, hey, we're just gonna try this thing. If it picks up, great. If it doesn't, oh well, we tried something, and let's move on to the next thing. But we've had so much good positive feedback from persons in the industry, from persons who had no idea what Soul Processing was about, persons who needed help. We made we actually created some connections between some persons in the industry who really weren't talking. They knew of each other, but we helped make that connection so people could start networking and getting together. So I'm proud of that also. And also met Miss Alessandra Nicholson too. Hey. So that was definitely positive. So Alessandra, what was one of your best shows for 2020? Hey, my brother Kevin,
2021.
how you doing?
2021. Hi everybody. Thanks for joining the show tonight. So that's really tough to pick one because definitely the one that sticks out of my mind is at the first show that I did with the process, in which I got invited on by Cylindra Bearfield, and got to see some of the conversation that was happening about sterile processing in the Facebook groups. I really hadn't been paying attention to it. I just kind of had been working, and I knew there was a traveler group, but I didn't know there were so many information groups that were together. So I guess I would go with the first one because it was my first introduction to the show, meeting you, meeting Cylindra, getting to understand about the entrepreneurial spirit that you guys had. For me, I was doing my 9 to 5, working in management, and I hadn't even considered doing anything like this before. So it set me off on a completely different path.
I remember that show. You know what I remember? Cylindra came to me, told me, I met this girl online talking
Smack.
all this smack online in the comments on Facebook, and she wants to come on the show. So I'm like, okay, bring her on. Like, I'm interested. What you gotta say? And 2 hours go by, 3 hours go by, nothing. So I'm calling Cylindra, like, Cylindra, this girl talking all this crap, and she doesn't want to come on the show. Like, what's going on? Then like what 15 minutes before the show, something like that.
Yeah, Cylindra. So shout out to Ion SPD. And I've actually gotten these emails from other techs. So I'm so glad that you highlighted this because we do have to talk about the moments when we fail forward, guys. So I was in the comments spicy, right? But when they said go live, I was like, wait, me? You want me to go on the camera and talk? I got nervous. Cylindra called me on Facebook and gave me a coaching session. So go over to Ion SPD. She gave me a coaching session and she got me confident and ready to get on. So yes, like 15 minutes before came on and we had an amazing show. You couldn't tell that there was anything going on in the background.
So that was a good show. That was a good show. But I was like, this chick doesn't want to come on. Like, she's
I was
talking all
nervous,
this
man.
stuff.
I was
Yeah.
nervous.
And then shout outs
Shout out.
to Harry Mullen,
Yes.
who was the first guest on the show. I'm gonna give him a shout out. And
Yeah,
Cylindra
and Harry
definitely.
was the big supporter of the show when I got started because he was in the comments with me. We were going
Yeah.
around, and we have a great relationship now. Like, there's so many people that we've met, and like you said, been able to network with. Shout out to Kevin. I appreciate you tuning in, man. First time for the show. Please share, share, share. Hi,
Yeah.
Jake.
And we also made some friends. I'm just shout out some of our Facebook friends. Veronica.
Oh my God, Veronica, Tiffany, Sarah. There were so many people, especially in the early January, February, March time of people. Leslie, oh my God, Leslie
Leslie. Can't
Kronstadt.
forget. Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
every show she was tuned in. She was super fan supporting us. And she started Pin Purely this year, so definitely check her out. If you guys don't have, because I know we air everywhere. We want to be anywhere you guys are. So if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, we want to be there. But I know some of us are in certain social media groups. So if you're in Facebook, find the process group, come check us out. We always have content there. And the great thing about it is that the people that watch our show, people like Leslie, people like Veronica, actually come in and post content for you guys. So come in and check that out. If you're on LinkedIn, search for the Process SPD podcast. And the same thing, we'll post all of our updates and information there so you won't miss anything.
Hmm. Should I drop a bomb on that one? That's good information.
You got to be. Bombs got to drop on time, you know?
Don't. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. So
Shout
guys,
out to Wayne Perkins.
if
Let's go. It's go time.
if you've been with this show and seen it for a while, you know of all the mistakes that has happened. I apologize. Trying to make it right, but sometimes the mistakes work out in a good way. So, so it's always a learning process. Shout out to my brother Jake. What's going on?
Yes.
Um,
Jake and sterile processing means and the clubhouse.
And the clubhouse,
So much stuff
definitely,
did not
definitely.
exist until until 2021. It's so cool.
And guys, after we talk about some of these shows, we're definitely gonna play some footage for you guys of some great moments that we did have in
Yes.
2021. So just stay tuned. We're just going
Stay
over a
tuned
couple
to
little
the end of
things,
the show.
and then we're gonna play some reels from the marathon, from a couple interviews we had also, and some very interesting persons who had some very interesting takes in 2021. We also have my man Jesse's on here too. He has some
Hey
interesting
Jesse.
takes. We have Mr. Jesse,
Y'all check out
So
Stir
what?
That Pot on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Yeah,
Check it
Jesse
out.
got me. Jesse did get me with that sterilizer thing on LinkedIn.
Keep after us,
Yeah.
Jesse. We appreciate the
No,
work that
no,
you do,
no, no. I
brother.
was partially right, if
We
there's such a
appreciate
thing.
the work that you do,
I
brother.
wasn't wrong. I
And
was right. I don't know. I was in the middle.
for
I
those of
was
you
right.
that are new with
So,
us, Denard's always right most of the time, sometimes not at all. And also, we hosted the very first ever sterile processing marathon for SPD week. So we kicked off SPD week on a Sunday night. We started at 12 p.m. in the afternoon and we went until midnight. We had guests on from all across the industry, and actually got to talk about HSPA, which is the new title for our organization to help bring awareness to what we do. So we got to talk with Tanya Lewis, Damian Berg about what those changes were going to look like. We had Lila Price, we had Lawayne Perkins, Sharon Combs, Sharon Green Golden, Sarah Cruz. There were so many people that came out and just hung out with us. And I was shocked the number of viewers that stayed with us for
mhm,
12
I
hours long.
was straight. Shout out to Trey.
Yes,
Trey. I didn't know if he was at work or if he was, I don't know where he was, but
was with
Trey
us.
was was for at least 8 to 10 hours. So thanks for Trey. He's a very talented artist. So check him out on LinkedIn. I'm not sure what his Facebook handle is, but definitely check him out on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And also, guys, I hope you like our little promo commercial type cartoons. If you like it, if you like them, let me know. It's with Scott and what's the other guy's name? I forget what's yet, but it was with Scott and Jessica talking about the department. At first, I put that out on the weekend, and I had one with I think it's Escobar and Scott. Um, talking about having popcorn, talking about the show is coming on Wednesday night. So if you like those little cartoon infomercials, kind of, let me know. I'm gonna create some more. I'm also gonna create an interview with that too. I'm gonna try a couple little things. So let me know if you like it. I want to put Alessandra in there too. I want to give her a character.
Give me a character.
I'm gonna give you a
Cassie.
character. I'm gonna put you in there too. So if you
Cool.
like those little videos, guys, I thought everybody doesn't want to see my ugly face all the time. So I'm like, let me switch it up a little bit so that you guys could have some little entertainment and information at the same time. So let me know how that's working for you guys. Um, I'll definitely post a few more of those. And any ideas, guys, also let me know. We're also interested in any ideas you guys have.
Yes, Kevin Hamilton, shout out, asking how can I be a part of the team? Love to network and gain more knowledge. Easy wherever you are. So if you are on LinkedIn, just find Denard or myself or search for the Process SPD podcast. Send us a message and connect. If you're on Facebook, we're in the Process group. So search in groups and for the process, and you'll find us. I also run the Condre Institute of Sterile Processing, and you can find that page on Facebook as well. So there's tons of ways to connect with us. Don't hesitate. I cannot tell you guys enough. Don't hesitate to reach out if you want to collaborate, if you want to network, if you want to just talk about, what your ideas are. We're happy to plug you into the right places, and we love to work with you.
And shout out to Mr. Hank also, Hank
Yes,
Balch.
Hank
Just give us a
Bosch.
little like there. Appreciate it.
Hank
Thank you,
Bosch.
sir.
So I
Yeah.
gotta ask Denard, when we did the 12-hour marathon, what was that like for you?
Sheesh. I wasn't nervous because I did a bunch of shows before, but I wasn't nervous for myself. I was nervous for the guests.
Yeah, I
If they
remember
kind of
that.
understand, I was nervous to kind of get everybody on and not like disrespect somebody, tell them
Yeah,
hold on. I'm like, oh, can I tell that person hold on? Are they just gonna cut me off and just say, nah, I'm not doing this anymore? So it was kind of a balance of trying to get people in and making them wait. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like,
like
because
doing the
you have
kind of
respect for everybody's
pre-staging for the show.
right, because you have respect for everyone's time. You have to respect everybody's time, and also you want the show to run smoothly.
Yeah,
So, but every one of our guests, I must say, we didn't have any guests on there that didn't understand what we were trying to do and the format
they
and
were
working
so
with us to
supportive.
come on the show.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
so
so
supportive and helpful and excited, and I think that's one of the cool things about 2021 as well, of getting that feedback, of putting something out there, creatively, and getting such good feedback, because we didn't have anybody that we asked if they wanted to join that wasn't excited to be with us. And we had the Isham president on. We have all these different entrepreneurs on. And I think one thing about social media is that it's really shrinking our worlds. We're able to connect with each other in ways that we wouldn't be able to in the past. So having all those folks in one place where all the techs could just get access to them, it was like a mini conference, and it was super cool. All right.
wow. So guys, um, let me get off there for a second. So um, one of the main things I was trying to do in 2021 was interviews. So I went to the FIME Expo in Florida. I also went
But
to
not
the
just interviews, on-site interviews.
on-site interviews.
Denard
Yeah,
was out here
true.
like a reporter.
So what I wanted to do was to bring to the listeners the actual vendors the vendors at the actual shows and the vendors at the shows and let them see actually what the expos look like,
Yeah,
what the floor look like, what persons were trying to buy, what the vendors were looking for in terms of prospective buyers and what they were offering.
yeah,
So I had a few interviews with a couple persons selling washer tests, selling hand sanitizers or showcasing hand sanitizers and other RFID tags and stuff like that. So I hope that helped the audience, our audience, see from the vendor standpoint how to sell what they're trying to do and let's bridge that gap in some type of way. So that was my kind of goal in doing that. I also went to a few and bringing up technical difficulties. I had at least 10 interviews that did not turn out that nobody ever saw. So 10 to 15 interviews no one ever saw because of technical difficulties. So, it's a lesson learned and
yes.
but you have to do those things to actually figure out how to navigate around it from time to time. So I did a couple of really interesting ones with HealthMark, etc. But there was some that definitely the audio was messed up. My wireless mic and their wireless mic, like it
Just didn't
didn't
go.
jive. It didn't jive. It didn't
Yeah,
jive.
I
They were a little.
recorded one side of a interview in
Oh
2021,
yeah.
and we rolled it back, and all you could see was my face, and you would see me ask questions, but you wouldn't see our interviewee actually respond. So definitely we stumbled. It's a learning curve. I mean, we're learning editing, um advertising, marketing, social media marketing specifically. There's so much that is new, but we tackle each issue as we get to it and learn from it and just make the next thing the best thing. So don't be discouraged. If you've got an idea of something that you want to get started, just start taking steps forward. The smallest step in that direction is still progress.
Definitely, I agree because we've messed up a lot, guys. I'm not saying that you're gonna mess up if you endeavor to do something like this, but it's definitely not easy as it looks sometimes. So definitely take the time, do your research, plan out your day, plan out your topics, plan out what you want your audience to see, and then you'll have a better shot in terms of navigating the wide world of podcasting or vlogging or just, live shows in general. So
Absolutely.
live, I like the reason why I like lives is because if you mess up, it's alive. If you have
It
an edited,
is what it is.
if you have an edited version and you mess up,
Ah!
to me it's more pressure because I'm so meticulous with everything I
I
try
like
to
the
do.
lives because we get to immediately feedback with the people that are in the comments, and especially somebody with a personality like mine that always wants to be in the conversation, always wants to be talking. I think that's the fun part for me, because I hope what continues to happen with social media is that it breaks down these barriers of feeling like the person on the other side of the camera is so far away from you. We're techs. I've been in the industry for 14 years. Like we've done decon, we've done sterilizing, we've done construction projects, consulting. Like we've done it all. So it's just being able to connect with other people like us. And then the other thing, and especially for how I got started with the process, and you guys should definitely go over to YouTube and watch. Just go to YouTube, search for Sterile MD, find the old shows. But it's really important to me for us to be a representation for folks that are in our industry as well. So shout out to everybody that sends us messages on that tip and on that regard. We know that that work is important, and we will continue to do that.
Definitely, definitely. So, can you check out who's in our audience right now?
A little bit of everybody. Share this if you haven't already. Share this with a tech. Share this with the family member. We do content for the patients as well. We want everybody to be aware of what's going on around here. And oh, and when you did the on-site interviews, my favorite part about that was I've only been to one Isham conference. And if you guys have never been, please try to do anything and everything you can to go at least once in your lifetime. If you are certified through this body, you should definitely be in the building. They do have scholarships. I know a lot of vendors will be doing scholarships. So as we see things, we'll show you. But try to go. There's education that happens, but also there's the expo. And when I walked into the expo, I literally remember how I felt. I was geeked out. I was super excited walking into this huge room, sterilizers everywhere, computer screens are everywhere. All that equipment is there for you, and no other time do you really get to just sit there and talk about the science and the manufacturing, the use, what it looked like in your space, and it's just you and a bunch of industry experts having this conversation. So definitely try to go. Conferences in April this year. The process will surely be there. But we would love it if you guys can be there too, and if not, we'll definitely do our best to bring you as much content as we possibly can.
And
Thank you to the guys on the comments. We appreciate that. It says thank you for what you bring to the industry. We appreciate it. And if you guys have been watching the process, I'd love to hear in the comments what one of your favorite process moments of 2021 was. Dun, dun, dun. Curious. All right. I'll tell you one of my least favorite moments.
yes, please.
One of my least favorite moments
You
was
actually have a least favorite moment? That's crazy.
I do.
Wow.
It was a technical issue.
Oh wow. Okay,
So
so it's my fault. You trying to blame me now? Okay.
we're gonna blame the Wi-Fi gods. We're gonna blame the Wi-Fi gods. We had Hank Bosch was watching the show in the comment section, and sent us a message and hopped on the show. And my Wi-Fi kept going in and out. So I was like on and off the show, or like sometimes you can hear me and not hear me. I was mortified.
Wow.
Mortified. That was one of my least favorite moments. But we got through it and it was fun. We ended up having a really good show, really great conversation. But yeah, this stuff happens. It happens. Definitely, definitely that. And I've loved seeing some of the stuff that's been born out of it. Like we have Veronica Holder posts motivational messages in the group. She started, and I remember talking to her because she almost stopped. And I was like, no, like we're literally looking forward to it. And one of the times that she came on to the process, she's been on with us a few times, and she joined us for the marathon. And we had Lindsay Brown on from Beyond Clean. And Lindsay was talking about motivational, like enriching yourself. She gave us like some breathing techniques to de-stress, and just talked about, growth with us and what you can do to just manage yourself. And one of the first things that she said when she hopped on the show was that she looks forward to Veronica's posts every day. And it was so nice to see that connection. Like Dinar said, being able to bring people together, because up until that moment, she had no idea that, in her mind, like somebody that big was watching for her content. So I thought that was really, really cool.
And shout out to one of our other good supporters, Angie, um, who is
Yes,
always
Angie Holland,
um, looking out for us, always communicating. Really appreciate your support.
Karen Cherry. Thank you. She helped me a couple days ago. And thank you. Shout out.
Karen Sherry, thank you again. Appreciate it. There's Kevin in the comments. Kevin, how you doing, brother? Um,
Kevin's looking for the date for the conference. Let me grab it for you because I don't have it on top of my head. I know it's in April that the HSPA will be having this conference in San Antonio, Texas. Now you went to the San Antonio conference before, right?
I went to San Antonio. It was a pleasant atmosphere. The river walk was definitely great. Loved the river walk. A few of my colleagues loved that walk also. Here's Miss Combs on here. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yes.
the
She
river
was
walk was
dropping bombs left and right on that marathon episode. Y'all need to go back and rewind because it was amazing. And then also that's another conference coming up is the Scrub Ball. Will be taking place in Dallas, Texas. So as I look up this HSPA date, we'll look up the Scrub Ball date as well. Unless Miss Sharon, unless you can drop it for us in the comment sections, we'll post that up here. But they had their very first conference last year. They'll be doing another one this year. It'll be happening every year. Scrub Ball will be taking place. So another opportunity for you to network, to get education, and to just be around some industry professionals that understand where you're coming from and can support you and where you want to go.
definitely, and networking is definitely a very important aspect of sterile processing. I'm moving around here, guys, working on stuff, so don't mind me. So networking is definitely
Quality and
very
production.
important. It's almost like networking is basically like interviewing. So you never know who that person knows and who that person, the person that they know knows. So you basically, when you network, just put your best foot forward, and that might land you somewhere with an opportunity that you did not know you had.
Mm. And I would also say be your authentic self. There's there is definitely a need for people to show up as themselves, especially when we talk about representation. Sterile processing is extremely diverse. And it's important for technicians to be able to look up to folks and see mentors that look like them. So, come out, talk. It's SPD, so you always know you have a common ground to start a conversation with another professional. Thank you, Miss Combs. So Scrub Ball is going to be June 1st through the 4th. this 2022 in Dallas, Texas. So head over to her page. I'm sure you guys can find the website for that. Do a little Google search, scrub ball. I know last year there were scholarships. I'm sure there's the same as well. So check that out. You want to get in there early and fill out those applications. And then
There's
last, oh, go ahead.
there's just one thing, one little thing,
One little task.
one little thing I wanted to mention, guys. One thing. Just hold on 1 second. Just one. If you like the show, check it out on YouTube. Like and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified every time we have new content. We're going to a short 30-second break, and we'll be right back. So, guys, welcome back. So, one of our most impactful shows was the Cook County strike. So, I remember that because we were in the middle of COVID and people were losing their jobs left, right, and center. And
Yes.
persons were getting sick and persons were dying. Every facility was short staffed, having to work long hours. I mean, we didn't have that many scheduled cases, but persons still had to put food on the table. A lot of people were furloughed; they still had to put food on the table.
Process the masks.
Then you had a bunch of sick people in the facility, which you had limited staff taking care of those, and you put that together with being underpaid, and that leads to the strike, that Cook County had. But that was basically years and years of mismanagement that eventually made it to a head that created the strike. But we had Black Ice on there. He definitely explained everything, and also on that show we had Hank Balch on that show too.
Mm.
He had something coming up at the time, so that was definitely positive. Um, so I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah, it was a really important conversation. There's a lot of us in the industry that are working in union environments, and there's a good number of us that are not. But it seems across the board we're all feeling the same pressures of low staffing, of mismanagement, of change, of dealing with change management. Having manager after manager, director after director. And the same for staff now with COVID, and we're experiencing the great resignation. We're experiencing people with burnout that just aren't able to do it, and or they're sick. So it was important, I think, for SPD techs to see that there were sterile processing units that were taking it to that next level and that were exhausting every avenue available to them to demand to be paid fairly. Definitely go back and check out that episode. There were multiple unions that were striking in Cook County at the time, not just SCIU. But SCIU stayed on the picket line the longest, and to my understanding, at least per that episode, they did the longest strike in Cook County history, and were able to make some headway that they were looking for with maintaining some pay differences for their veteran staff and things of that nature. So definitely check it out. And Black Ice was just a cool guy, artist. And that's something else about the interviews is that we were able to talk to people and see that they do so much more than just sterile processing, which is already huge in of itself. But people are so multi-talented.
Yeah, they are. And shout out to Black Ice. And also, someone asked a question: any more interviews in the park? So right now it's the middle of winter. I don't feel comfortable. Actually, let me tell a story about that park interview. So, so it was kind of a mishmash of things. I had this beautiful vision of go to the park, the lighting is right, the trees are there, people walking by, birds chirping and all that good stuff. Now, so getting to the park, I had the spot. I had this yeah, I had the spot, and Lila showed up. I'm like, hey, Lila, what's going on? Yeah, let's start. Let's go. Everything was getting set up. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this new thing. I'm gonna switch cameras. And then all of a sudden, the park attendant showed up. Excuse me, guys, you guys have to move.
The best laid plan.
Yep. Yep, you guys have to move. And I'm like, I think it was a Saturday or Sunday, I'm not too sure.
Saturday.
Saturday. So I'm like, we're like, there's no one around. Like, what we have to move for? Well, you're sitting in an area, there are sculptures, and, we don't want the sculptures to get, damaged. And it was like, okay, we don't want to argue, but like we were just like 5 minutes or a couple minutes from just pressing start.
Live.
And I was like, thank God we were a little delayed, because you'd have seen the interview because it was live, and you'd have see a park attendant show up like, hey, excuse me, guys, y'all rolling now?
Move
Y'all,
it.
y'all have to
Move
move
it,
to the left.
Buster.
So that was an interesting thing. And plus, the motorbikes and stuff. But that was part of the whole ambience of being outside in the
It
park.
was
So
good.
definitely, to answer that question, I definitely would like to have some more outdoor interviews. Maybe a little to the left of where I actually wanted to do it in the park. But it was definitely a good experience. I
Yeah.
learned a lot. Now, based on, like, guys, now what I've been saying in the past, you always, like, sometimes you have to mess up, try to really figure it out to actually make it better. So now, guys, back then all my cameras were wired to the computer. So my next interview, all my cameras will be wireless. So that's what I learned from that first interview, that having everything, because I didn't know about the wireless, how to put how to set your cameras to be wireless to your PC to record a live. So that's the hardest part. You could always do it for recording directly to your computer, but to actually wire it to a live show, it's a whole different dynamic. So thank you to Lila for actually agreeing to do that. So now I kind of learn how to do a wireless live while switching cameras. So thank you. So that's my whole story. And
Yeah.
good thing that park attendant didn't, come back and say, "Guys, move a second time."
Yeah,
So
move again.
um, it ended up being a good show. So I learned a lot from that one.
We also on Saturdays when the weather is a little nicer, we do just some Saturday walks. So we'll open up a room on the Facebook page, and folks can just come in anytime. We hang out there for a couple hours, but folks come in and out, and we just walk or whatever you want to do. Like Cylindra, she will bike on there. Leslie would do these beautiful walks through these gorgeous areas in Wisconsin. Oh, Melissa Vargas, used to come
Yay!
out with us. So yeah, so we have some more dynamic content for that, for those series as well. If you guys missed the show in December when we had the training coach KJ Kelch on, she offered to do a free training session with Denard and I. So we will share that. We will share that training with the Process family as well.
And I definitely am taking a new interest in yoga. So
Excuse me.
hopefully,
I think I did it again. Her pronouns are they. They. They.
yep.
You're gonna get it.
A good thing I wasn't the one talking about it, because I would have messed it up from the get
I'm
go.
gonna get it right.
So you'll get it. You'll get it. I'm working on it, but I'll let you mess up.
Whatever.
So
Practice makes
so
perfect.
that makes perfect. And I'll shout out to Jeffrey Wilkins,
Oh my
also, who
gosh,
came on the
Jay.
show early. And
William
I understand
Logan.
people are sometimes busy, and it's kind of hard being the same place the same every week at the same time. So guys,
Yes.
it's so
It
So
sounds simple, but it is hard to keep this date
very hard. So
every day.
guys, if you look at some of my old backgrounds, sometimes I was at work. I wasn't at work. I wasn't working, but I was at the job because driving down home would take too long. So I did some shows from the job, and I did some shows. Should I say that? No, I'm gonna leave that out. That's a little too much. So I did
Exclusive content. Don't worry about what
from
the show said.
the job and from home. So um so sometimes I couldn't make it. I'll look at the time and I'll be like, okay, this time to get home, let me just pull out my laptop. And I'll probably know that in the beginning of the day that based on the caseload, etc., just carry your laptop just in case
Just in case. I always
you
have my
you're gonna be
laptop
late.
and a microphone just in case.
Just in case. So that's one of the perils of having a live show the same time every day. So
So why?
shout out to the clubhouse folks where you could have your phone and be
Yes.
driving. I don't take that for granted. Don't take that for granted because that's I wish this was the same thing. I wish I could do that. Just be like,
So
hey,
why do you
welcome.
do it? Why did you start the process?
The reason why I started the process was I saw I didn't see information or I didn't hear information I wanted to know or I wanted to converse with. I didn't see point of views that I agreed with. I didn't see information I thought was pertinent out there. I didn't see certain people. I saw certain people I liked and I was interested in, but they weren't talking about. They didn't have the talking points that I wanted to hit. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the persons were knowledgeable, but in certain areas, I believe, especially in this field, certain areas are really sensitive to actually comment on and actually take a deep dive in because they're
Right?
sensitive
It's hard,
based
right?
on
You
your
got
job, based on the
branding,
facility,
your
based on your
job.
branding, etc., etc. You can't say certain things, and also in several processing, if you're wrong, they'll kill you. If you say,
No. They're
no,
super accommodating.
yeah.
They will help you figure out what you went wrong. Always.
It's
Yeah.
always, always okay. I digress.
Mhm.
They won't
We're
kill you.
very
They will
nice
help you
people
out.
here in
Yep, yep.
SC. Thank you.
So and I'm not afraid to be wrong, although I'm never wrong. But I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'll put it out there because you never know you're wrong until you actually say something. There's some people in the departments in the silos and they do the wrong thing, and when they come out and they actually go to a conference, they find out, oh,
Oh,
we've been running this 10 minutes 45 dry for
yes.
20 years. Oh, we could take it down to 4 minutes. Okay,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, I
So.
remember having one of those aha moments watching The View from My Window
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and learning information and I was like, "Whoa, wait, what?" I didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that's one of the reasons why I definitely felt like let me just put my voice. And I am not a camera person, guys. I'm not a camera person. I was never a camera person. That's why a lot of people that know me say, "Why the heck are you doing this?" So
Said,
yeah,
who's
who
running the
did not
podcast?"
like this guy? Also quiet. So this is Sterile MD here. This is not Denard. Like if you meet me, no.
Okay, no.
So um So I felt that even if felt I wasn't ready, I was going to be ready once I started it. So, I always go into the cliches. Sometimes you gotta jump and then you fly and all these little things. And like sometimes you just gotta take the leap and, just be confident that whatever you decide to do will work out. You will learn something from it. Even if it doesn't go the direction you want it to go, you'll learn something. So I was
Absolutely.
also a little techie. I like to go into computers and programs and stuff like that. I'm not the best. I'm not the worst either. But I always like to go into couple little things and try things out. And I'm like, okay, let me try this out. And shout out to Solinja Bearfield. You guys will never know how much Solinja helped me. So Solinja, Solinja was on. when I was trying to figure, because I saw other shows online, but you know, nobody never says, "Hey, we're using this to do this. We're using that to that. This is the mic we use. This is the this we use." And I'm gonna do one of those shows also.
I say we can
Nope.
definitely do one of those shows if you
Yeah.
guys are interested. Drop a comment.
Yeah. So no one ever says what they use. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna follow what anyone's doing. I'm gonna do my own research and start from scratch. So I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm watching products, I'm on Amazon, I'm this and that and this and that. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use this. And then every time I say I'm gonna do something, I always take a little break in between just for evaluation. Because sometimes your first choice is not always your best choice.
No, you
So I
gotta
always
mix the
stop.
recipe, taste it a little bit,
The
see
taste, yeah, you gotta taste it. Say like,
if it needs more
a
salt.
little too salt, a little more water. Let it simmer a little bit. The rice isn't done yet, so
There you go. It's a little
that's how I
cooking.
cook. So then I took a little break. I came back on. Then Cylindra. So this is what before I even shot my first video, before we even had the first show, before the process was even a thing. There was Cylindra Bearfield in an apartment in Atlanta and myself at home in my bedroom. So that was the process for the process.
There you go.
So I would call Cylindra at night. Cylindra, can you I'm doing this streaming thing. I just want to see if you could hear me and see me. So Cylindra would be on the computer with me for like 4 hours. Like, can you hear my voice? Can you hear me here? Can you? I'm gonna switch this up. Can you hear me? So I was trying mics. I was trying cameras. I was trying everything. And Cylindra would just sit there with me all night long. I don't know how she. I don't know why she did it. I don't know how she did it. But every now and then you get somebody in your life that just
Oh,
helps
I
you
was
out.
about to say, I'll tell you why, because she says why all the time. Like, Cylindra started Ion SPD because she wanted people like her to get the information up front and not have to do so much research and feel like they can't start something on their own. And I highly encourage you guys, if you haven't been over to her website to check it out, or if you're not listening to her podcast, please find her. But I mean, when you talk about entrepreneurial spirit, she literally breathed that life into me. It was not even on my mind, but yes, talk to us about LLCs, setting up business accounts, walking through technical issues. Like as a friend, like Leslie, same thing. Like as a network, we hold each other down. we we support each other 100%. So it's really been phenomenal to bring those type of people into our lives of just of having this love of a thing, and just because they love the thing too, they want to see us win. And so it's phenomenal. It truly is.
It is, and thank you to those guys. We really appreciate your help and support. And we're going to go into a little commercial break again, and we'll be right back. We're going to drop a couple commercials, guys, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. We're back. We're back. We're back.
Y'all
So,
know.
guys, please check out the Etsy store and check out the Etsy store and check out the goods we have there. T-shirts. We have some mugs. We have some socks. A couple other things. So check them out. Check the store out and help support the show so that we can keep bringing you great content. We really appreciate it. Oh, shout out to Mr. Trey, Mr. Smith. Yeah, Solindra is definitely awesome.
Yeah.
Everything she does, I really appreciate everything she does. And then she's always doing something. She's always doing something. She's
Tag
always doing something.
somebody tag Cylindra. Tell her we giving her flowers
Yeah,
today.
yeah. So I used to see her. I used to talk to her every day. Now I don't know what she's doing, but she's always coming out. Shout out to her new show because she's doing all that
I'll
on
tell
her
you what she's
own.
doing. She's pouring into herself. Yes. She is putting out new content, so definitely find her. She's posted in practically every sterile processing group on Facebook, so you guys should be able to find her a little bit. And then she's also on LinkedIn as well. So, I mean, that's the name of the game. Is that everybody that we've connected with, whether they're still in the field as technicians, whether they're trying to get started or they're in head positions in some of our leading educational agencies. Everybody's main goal is that they care extremely deeply about what we do and they understand that it needs to be magnified in order for it to be supported. And one of the ways that we can do that is by putting out content, is about talking about what we do amongst each other and amongst our friends and family. So, like, one of the things that I love to do and I've committed to doing is wearing my sterile processing T-shirt from the Etsy store, and it says sterile processing on the front line before the front line was popular. And the cool thing about that is it's a conversation starter. So if I'm out in the grocery store, at the gas station, somebody's reading my shirt and they're asking, what's sterile processing? And that gives me another opportunity to talk to people that are outside of our industry about what we do. People need to be aware of the seriousness and the depth, the complexity of the work that we do, of the science that we execute. And even that, like being able to change the language, it's not an accident that the tag is sterile MD. It's not an accident that we call it the process. We want our industry to have a positive culture about learning and about getting back into that research standpoint and wanting to have your own information, wanting to have your own sense of competence rather than some of this trend where you see where technicians won't learn anything new. They won't really care until they have to renew their CEUs. And to them, education is something that their managers have to give them. Otherwise, it just doesn't happen. And that's another breed of tech, and we support them in systemic ways. Getting that policies and procedures, talking about expectations, giving them education because that leadership does have that responsibility. But also we want to talk to the techs that study on their own, that buy their own books. The Tiffany Darvilles that are out here making their own flashcards, that are answering questions in the Facebook groups. Yes, it's not always the most accurate information, but there's something beautiful to be said about a community where you can type in a question and there's a swell of people that rush in to support you with the answer. But we it's important for us as individuals to take that radical accountability for ourselves, for the work that we put out,
True.
for the way that we grow, for what we put into ourselves. you know what I hear with this group, you talk to them, what kind of podcast they listen to. Oh, they're watching The Process. They're watching Knowledge and Nonsense. They're watching Beyond Clean. They're checking out the HSPA webinars. Their own Key Surgical. They're everywhere, and to them, it's their personal responsibility to know what's happening next. They're excited about it. They want to have an understanding about it, and they want to have community around them to talk about it. So it's it's a different breed of folks inside of our industry, and it's those people that will be the ones to take the rope and drag everybody else forward, because not everybody's gonna run with us. And we've all run up against that tech where it was like, okay, you're in your own little world, you're doing your own little thing. But this isn't that. This is folks that are forward moving, that are talking about how to better themselves. We got people talking about NFTs, buying stocks, excuse me, in robotics, doing manufacturing work. Like, nobody here is thinking small about what they contribute to the world. And I think that's one of my absolute favorite parts about working on the show is being a part of that vibe, and also having an opportunity to inspire people to do the same, to understand that you are the change that we're waiting to see in the world. You carry the capacity to do great things, for yourself, for your family, for your community. I cannot tell you the number of people's lives that were enriched in the networking, just in changing positions and getting the confidence to apply for that lead tech or apply for that manager position. We got folks that moved into completely different industries, that were networking. So it's no, SPD isn't, the stupid people downstairs. That day and age is over. We're really at the beginning in a lot of ways of a massive shift in how people understand what we do and how we do what we do. And I think it's important for us to take that mindset away from just like complaining in the locker room about the FDA or the CDC or Joint Commission or what's Isham doing for us. Get involved, because the only way that there's going to be progress is if we all lift a hand.
So very true. So very true. I like that. I like that. I like that. So, guys, definitely coming together. Hopefully, this show does help you guys come together and help help the movement with the industry and help us to move forward. Alessandra definitely said it. I couldn't say it. I couldn't say it. I'm just stressing that I couldn't say it better than what she how she said it.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're welcome, because Alessandra is a very passionate about sterile processing.
it. Yes. Some days I wonder maybe too much. I don't know. But it is. It's important to me. It's truly important to me that patients are educated, that entities are educated, and that sterile processing technicians get uplifted. If you watch the show at all, you know, as a manager, the first thing that I say when I meet my team, I got two objectives. The first one is to keep my patients safe. The second one is to resource you so you can do the same. It's not a one man job. So there can't be this, you know, thing of hoarding information or anything like that. Like, I want to talk about it with anybody that's ready to listen about SPD. You know, and that I hope that well, not I hope, I know that 2022 is going to give us even more opportunities to do that. Something else that was a big thing, a new thing for us in 2021 was getting to be invited to speak at a conference. It was our first national conference hosted by the California Central Service Association. They did a Fresh Voices panel, and just like the process, the point of that panel was to uplift industry leaders that aren't the normal ones that have already been trailblazing for us. So getting to be on that panel was exhilarating. It was exciting. It was nerve wracking. It required us to do things that we hadn't done before. Shout out to Leslie again for her support and helping us pull together our presentations. But it was really cool, and you know, getting the feedback in the background to say that you've reached 200 people today, and you know that at least something you said has made a positive impact, and we're doing that every week. So we just hope that you guys appreciate it, and that it's helpful to you. And we want to know, you know, what you want to hear, what you want to talk about. So definitely reach out, drop it in the comments, or send us a message.
Definitely. Shout outs to Rebecca Peplow, and shout outs to Angie and Daniel Smith. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys' support. And so, Alessandra, you've been with me for a year now,
Ah, yes.
right? So, what did you think of me when you saw me on the show first time or the second time? What did you think? Like, is this guy? Is this a was it a good show? You're interested in joining, or was it
Yes.
just like, oh my god, this show is not what I want, but I could I could help
This
it
is
out.
what I want, but it's
I
what I
could put some
need.
facts in it and make it better. Like, what was your whole perception of the show? Don't let that second part of my question
No,
interfere. What did you
so
think of the show, and just what your perception in the content you're seeing online in general?
yes. So I'll start with the content I was seeing online prior to. Because I'll preface it by saying this. I'm not a podcast watcher. Never really been into it. It's never really been my thing. In the past I've listened to like some little murder mysteries on NPR and whatnot, but I've never been big into podcasts. And I actually got hip to Beyond Clean through one of my good friends. She's a tech, she's a scope tech, a CER scope tech, and she watches the Beyond Clean podcast religiously. And so I actually met Hank years before we started doing all this podcast and stuff at the conference. And I remember walking up to him, and for me, and it still is a little bit, I ain't gonna lie, fangirl still a little bit, but because I think what you're doing is so cool, you know? But It's cool. I fangirl. I ain't gonna lie. But the first time I met him, I walked up to the booth simply because my friend was such a big fan of the show. So I took a picture, and that was the extent of my SPD podcast experience. Now
Oh
that was, I
wow.
think, like 2018. So fast forward to 2021, getting invited on to the process by Cylindra. When I joined you guys, my first impression of you was, man, he really has this thing together, because you're, if you haven't, if you guys haven't been on one of these platforms, kind of like getting onto Zoom, where when you come in, there's a lot going on the screen that you guys obviously don't see. And then as a host, he has a whole lot more options and things that he buttons that he's pressing and whatnot. So it felt very seamless, the conversation. And then finding out after we got off the air, like you go off live, and you kind of have this excitement, but learning everything that was going on in the background, I was just impressed by the whole shebang. I was impressed by Cylindra. I was impressed by Denard. I was impressed by the show, and then the topic, because I don't push it very heavy now, because we're a year, there's been growth, there's been more conversation. Isham, even in and of itself, has had a name change, so my feelings around what they're doing and where they're going have changed a lot. But at that time, we were having a conversation about representation, and it was important to me that it was a free space where I could talk about it with people that look like me and understand what I was talking about. And I didn't feel like I had to qualify the conversation, or I had to put a lot of history into the conversation. I could just talk about how I really felt about what was happening. And that was powerful. And every time that we seem to do that, people resonate with it. So it's been cool to carry it on.
Oh wow, wow, wow. So you hated the show then?
Loved the show. And that's why, even though I was working a full time job as a manager at a very big and very busy hospital in the middle of COVID, like a lot of our leaders are,
Mhm.
I dedicated myself to preparing and coming to that show every Wednesday night. And we would stay over for hours, getting ready for the next one.
Yes, true.
Like it's a full time job. Like I remember Sarah, when she came on, when we were getting ready for the marathon, she was like, how many hours of work do you think you guys put into this? And I was like, oh, no doubt that we worked at least 50 hours
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
this show together the week of, that's not including all the prep that had gone up until that moment. So it's not a small thing, but I do it because I love it. I love SPD. I would talk about it without the camera, so it's just a good opportunity, man.
yeah. Because let me go back to the marathon. Because just sending messages alone, that's hours. The
Admin,
yeah, we had
sending
24
messages,
guests who
invites.
who actually agreed, but then we had 10 more who
Yes,
couldn't make it. So you have to, oh boy, that I like to do. I learned a lot. Like if you don't do it, you won't learn to make it better. So shout out to you guys. This is an invite to the marathon 2022. It's gonna be better.
it's gonna be even bigger, man.
Because you know why? Because we did it one time and it's only gonna get better the second time.
Just like fine wine.
There's gonna be more features. There's gonna be more stuff. I can't even see because it's just gonna be better, guys. Um, so Alessandra, so you liked the show. You came on. You learned. What made you stay on the show? Because it's not easy being the same place as we said again
It's
every Wednesday being still. So guys, let me give you a little a little like don't think bad of us, guys. But we do have a recorded show every once in a while. So
and we still get in the comments. Like we don't go away from you though.
right, we still watch the recorded shows when we
We still
play.
do.
So but every now and then, like we want that Wednesday, like you want 2 Wednesdays a year off for your life at least,
And I know,
Wednesday
I think
evening.
that's all we
So
did too.
every now and then we take a Wednesday off, but we pre-record the show on a Sunday,
Yeah,
Monday, or Tuesday. You
yeah.
know,
We do
so
Wednesdays
that
and
we could
Saturdays.
chill and enjoy it like you guys chilling and enjoying it.
Yes,
So.
Yeah.
But
I
we
come back because one, I love talking about SPD. If you can't tell, I would do it in my free time. I just love it. Um, but two, especially as a technic, I started as a technician in 2008, and everything that I did moving my career up was done either by myself or with other technicians around me. I never had like a mentor in leadership until 2021. So I've always networked and worked together in groups to do the thing. Like when I started my job, they didn't require certification, and my shift got together, and we would get together on the weekends and study. And we were drilling that stuff, and we would and took the test. And so I'm used to collaborating around projects like this, but also as a manager, when I moved to a supervisor and manager, a lot of my job became just strictly answering questions of what my techs need. Because, like I said, we got to keep the patient safe, but I also got to keep you resourced so you can do the same thing. And that does not stop with just SPD education. Like, yes, I need to make sure I have ARN drilled into you, the policies drilled into you, but it also means I have to care. Well, let me not say that. I don't have to. If I, in my mind, in my personal feeling, if you want to be a servant leader and you want to be a people first leader, you have to care about things like the fact that somebody's car broke down, or they're sick, or classes have been canceled and they don't have childcare, or they're in the middle of a divorce, or they're stuck in a domestic violence situation, or there's sexual harassment at work, or they're food insecure. All these things, because that impacts your mental space. And if you're stressed and you're not here with me, you're going to make mistakes, and my patients are going to suffer. Our patients are going to suffer. So, as a manager, I have to care about that, and I have to resource you for that too. We talk about things like EAP, Employee Assistance Program, talk about things like therapy, childcare, whatever. So, the being on the show every week gave me an opportunity to not just be a manager for my techs in my department, but to be a manager for the people that are out here, that might not be able to ask their manager those questions, or don't feel comfortable to ask their manager those questions. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about how to make a doctor's appointment, how to get your insurance filled out, filling out your FSA accounts, doing your 401k. We're gonna talk about what it's like when your car breaks down as a traveler and you 3,000 miles away from home, because that stress is something I don't want you to take into your job.
hmm, you're very thoughtful.
It's important.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
important. I mean, telling people to just leave stuff at the door, it's not real. It's not
true,
real.
true.
How many
And
times you see a tech crying on the floor? You can't just tell them, "Hey, take that
right,
outside."
right. And sometimes I also look into like the backlash we get if we make a mistake. You
Yes,
know,
yes,
so a mistake is so affects the patient so adversely. But we never look at the mental health of the persons putting the trays together, how much sleep they've gotten,
yeah.
and other issues
Are
they may
they
have.
working nights and they doing
Yeah,
40 hours of overtime right now?
what
That's might
you
be a
have a
concern.
huge facility, huge department, but the break room could only sit 4 people. you know there
Yeah,
is no rest area.
yeah,
So like you have to look at all those things where like cell processing has been neglected, and the persons and people in cell not cell processing, because you'll get the state-of-the-art washers, the tracking system, the decontamination ergonomic sinks and all that, but you won't get a break room to sit and eat.
no,
you know or sometimes you may not even get the ergonomic workstations or the ergonomic decontamination sinks. It's like, well, this is what we have, this is what we give you. So there's
yeah,
no consideration for how your back may feel after 10, 15 years of doing this, sitting or standing. And some departments,
yeah,
unfortunately, don't allow chairs in the departments to this day, because the conventional thinking is if you sit, you're going to work slower. So, um, and I think that's very disappointed.
very disappointing. There's so much research. I think that's the other big thing for me is us being able to do research and demonstrating how that gets done. Like it's not just a walk in the park. You actually have to go search out this information and do your best to digest it. So we like to bring those things here too and just try to talk about the science in layman terms because it's important that everybody can understand what we're doing and understand the resources that they can use to support themselves when they're advocating for these types of things. But I like that about the process as well is that it gives us a platform to advocate for the technicians, the leadership, the executive leadership, the industry, from a position that not a lot of techs can take. Not a lot of techs can hop on here and talk about the problems that they have inside of their facilities. And it's important that we uplift those things because you can't fix anything that you don't know is wrong.
So true. You can't fix anything you don't know. That's why one of the things I usually or almost always advocate about is managers and supervisors actually coming onto the department and actually doing the work, putting your gown on, going back in digging time.
Get
And
them.
I always get the feedback that, well, I did it for 20 years. I did it over here. I did it over there. But definitely you want to get the feel of the actual department you're going to be managing. You want the feel of the people. You want to know how high the sink. You want to feel working 2 hours at that sink. How does it feel? How having no mats feel? How the washers work when you're working on an ortho day.
Hey, hey,
Um,
hey, 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 hey. It's not always all bad. You can also gown up and go see how nice it is
oh
since you
yeah.
just finished upgrading that tracking system, how awesome
Mhm.
it is, when you got that new equipment. But you won't know if you're not on the floor.
True. So very true. You gotta do it and have the experience, and also then you get to communicate with your team. And I think a lot of people miss that opportunity
You
to
get to gain some
communicate
trust
with
because
you.
people are going to
Exactly.
respect you if they know that you can do what they can do. And I've never worked with a team that wasn't an accurate thing going. So I know I get a lot of questions in my inbox about how to transition into leadership. And that's one of the main things. To just don't ever lose sight of the fact that you're an SPD tech and that's where you started. And you need to maintain functional skills because you need to be able to show up on the floor for your staff, need to be able to help when there's an emergency, and demonstrate to them the skills that they need to know. It's the easiest way to teach people is a monkey see monkey do situation. Show me and let me show you, and you'll know that I have got that down. I've got that muscle memory and we're on the same page. And lastly, and I love this about especially with Veronica Holder and what Tiffany Darville put out, but it really is on the individual to hold themselves to the highest standard of care. We know a lot of basic things about SPD, but there can be drift and it can be easy to try to go to that sterilizer rack and touch it and it's not all the way cool, or try to pull that load and the BI hasn't been read, whatever the case may be. Maybe you adding too much detergent and and to your ratio of water and you're just used to it because you're doing it every day, but it's important that we take the time to do it right the first time.
Definitely very important. And guys, as a tech or as a manager, please, that communication aspect is very, very important. A manager won't know what your pain is if you don't communicate, and them being on the floor is kind of like your opportunity to show them, hey, when I assemble a major tree and I'm looking for croaker, I have to walk all the way around the corner down the hall to get a croaker
Over
to
the
put in
river
that
and through
tray.
the woods.
So like there's nothing wrong with the croaker, there's nothing wrong with the assembly workstation, but the distance. Walk with me, let me show you how long this takes to
Yeah.
assemble. Because looking at the numbers on the computer, looking at reports, say, hey, some persons are taking 20 minutes, some persons are taking 10 minutes. So the person sometimes who's taking 10 minutes kind of figures out, hey, I may need a cooker for that. Maybe there might be some cookers on a corner on a shelf somewhere. They made maybe different
Stay
tactics
ready.
and tricks. Right. So, but the person that's doing it a certain way is taking 20 minutes, but they're not doing it incorrectly. They're just doing it the way based on the structure of the department.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that person is slow, but they're really not slow. See what I'm saying? Like there are different tricks to work around speed, but then if you simply doing it by the book, okay, I'm doing this tree, I'm gonna go grab everything that's missing one after the other. And there's a trick you could do also, go for your entire count sheet and then pick and then after you're done with your count sheet, you find out those missing instruments and go get them. So you won't be going back and forth, back and forth, back and
Little
forth throughout
tip,
the
little
Sunday
tip,
tree.
little tip.
Little tip. You can send the no, don't send the check. Just support the show.
Just buy a t-shirt and Etsy
The
store.
bad T-shirt. Um, so, but definitely, guys, that is definitely a little trick for you guys. So, Alessandra, how do you see yourself in the show? In this show for the future 2022. How do you see yourself?
Here every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So definitely that. I also like we have a lot of content planned for 2022, just some additional things for you guys that feel like they would be helpful. So it's nice to be able to add to that. And also I became a business owner in 2021. And so being able to build out our brand, but also the Condre brand, and do some exciting things for 2022 as well. So my main goal is to make sure that I wake up every day. We post about it all the time. Wake up every day and clock into our dreams. I don't want anything to feel insurmountable. If we have an idea or we have, something that we think that we can do, I want to just drive for it. So that's that's my main goal. 2021 took me from being sterile processing technician, sterile processing leader, to also being a social media content creator. To being able to navigate social media marketing, to doing public speaking. It's it's been it's been something that has really allowed me to stack skills. And you mentioned something about that earlier, but I do think that's important. Is just, even if it doesn't, like, we don't end up being, doing this podcast 10 years from now, we're gaining skills that we can use and take with us anywhere. And I definitely brought some of my management skills over, as far as like doing our schedules and show outlines and things like that. So just being of service, truly, first pouring into myself and then and letting it run over to everybody in the network.
And I definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. So, guys, we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up the show. We're gonna show you some highlights. We're gonna play our reel of all the shows that we have, snapshots of all the shows and the hot takes we have lined up, and we're gonna put that out on a live sometime this week. So, guys, stay tuned, and we'll be putting that out. And then just leave the comments, and we'll be here in the comments also. So I might even be on also. So, but just stay tuned for that, and we'll definitely go through that and have a good time watching everything.
Yes.
Um, so appreciate you guys
Flashback.
sticking on.
A little flashback. Oh, also, I just launched this week. If you guys are interested, I know we got a lot of people watching from LinkedIn and from Facebook, but head over to Facebook and find the Condre Institute of Sterile Processing. I did launch coaching, interview help, certification prep help. So if you're interested, any of those, first session is free for all the newcomers. So you can go over to the Facebook page and schedule an appointment at your leisure. I did open the schedule up to make sure that all the technicians that are working all the crazy hours, not just my 7 to 3s and my 3 to 11s, but everybody else can have access to you. Oh, that reminds me. Shout out to Celeste. She's one of our night shift techs that faithfully watches the show, and I really appreciate you representing the folks on nights.
Hmm.
Yes, Danny, wake
So
up every day and clock into your dreams. Anybody gonna do it for y'all?
nobody's gonna do it. Exactly,
Ain't gonna do it
exactly.
for you.
Nobody's gonna do it for you. So, guys, Thank you so much for tuning in. Another episode of The Process. And hope you guys enjoy the show. And we're going to bring you more entertainment, more information, more hot takes, more interviews in 2022.
Yes, we will also be bringing you guys some special content for the month of February for Black History Month. So we'll be having some special interviews, but also taking a deep dive into what that history looks like in surgical services. Might learn some things you didn't know.
No. Excellent, 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 excellent. So, guys, we will catch you in the next show. Let me know if you like those little infomercials we have with the cartoons.
Please somebody
The
tell them
little
about these cartoons.
promo. Let me know, because I'm gonna start flooding, flooding social media with a couple more of those. So let me know. I like them. I like the little skits. I just like it. I don't know.
We're
It's a
going
new
crazy
toy.
on the reels this week.
It's a
Going
new
crazy.
toy. So, and I'm going crazy on the reels too. So I got some sick reels coming up. Hopefully, I go viral. But I have some sick reels coming up. So, guys, definitely let me know. Like the reels, definitely. I have 1,000 views on a couple of my reels already. So let me know. It's blowing up, people. You know, I might even do some
Progress.
dancing and stuff too. I might do some
Oh
dancing.
Lord, if y'all keep
Don't,
watching the
don't let-
reels, he gonna dance. Okay, all right.
All right, guys. So thank you for joining the show. We appreciate it. All the new viewers, thank you so much. And it's a labor of love. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Alessandra. And
Yeah.
definitely check out the upcoming shows. So peace.